I'm with Stephen Jackman, who's the Director for Global Corporate Security of Barclays Capital. And we're just continuing a discussion that we had with Dr. David King about the convergence of physical and technical security. One of the interesting aspects of what Dr. David King was saying was that our physical security, in many cases, is now IP-based. And it made me think that if a hacker got into the system, they've got probably the best shoulder surfing device ever. And Stephen has actually more information on that as well.
Well, that's exactly right. And it's not just cameras. Even access control nowadays is IP-based and has clear routes through firewalls and so clear access into the network. So it's not just a matter of you've allowed someone into a source for shoulder surfing. You've actually given a clear route into your network, which is why that physical security practitioners can no longer work in isolation. They very much have to work hand in glove with IT security people, with IT technologists, so that we get a properly controlled environment for the security devices.
Right, and what's your perspective from this? Because I think you said you were more concerned about business and business enablement.
Yeah, I mean, in the past, security was always seen as a blocker, and sort of the answer is no. What's the question? Security nowadays has got to be business orientated, like the rest of the business. And the way I look at it for myself and my team is, we're not here actually to do security. We're here to increase the company's profit, to increase shareholder value. And the way I happen to do that is I do security. And if I, therefore, as a security practitioner, can allow the bankers, the business people to go out into austere areas and do business and enlarge the business, then that's how I'm contributing to the bottom line. So a practical example, if we've got new business coming up in Afghanistan or in Iraq, very hostile environments, from a physical point of view, we'll make sure that the people are adequately protected. And then from a logical perspective as well, the same thing applies.
Right, and you had some practical implementations of some of the discussion. Is that correct?
Yeah, we really have recently converted our systems to our CCTV systems and access control systems. When we took over a company recently, a significant merger, they had completely different technical security solutions to what we had in the core business. So we quite clearly had to integrate those two. From a physical security perspective, the guys obviously were out of their depth. So we then had to team up with the IT security people and the technologists so that we can combine those two disparate systems, or the four disparate systems as it worked out, into the one holistic approach to technical security for the bank.
What teething problems did you have initially trying to get those two teams to work together?
It's a cultural difference. There's a language difference, I suppose. Actually, probably the language difference is key. Physical security people, in the main, have nothing to do with IT security, and that's kind of a mindset they adopt. And conversely, the IT security people have much the same sort of thing. So it's breaking down that barrier. My background is both IT and physical security, and I'm not unique. There's a number of people now in the industry that are getting that sort of a background and that understanding. So therefore, we can cross-pollinate. We can understand the speak from both sides. And actually, you find when you introduce the two sets to each other, they suddenly realize there's a lot in common out there. And just because it's either a logical or a physical approach to security, there are a lot of similarities in the terms of the way you devise your security solution. And so therefore they find there's common ground, and it breaks down those barriers and it works.
Are you saying that my technical security guys, they don't really understand the need for, or really don't understand the CCTV tracking people and that kind of culture and mindset, and actually physically blocking people or access to certain systems because they're trying to fix it all technically?
Yeah, they're very much in the back office side of things. So excellent at the technical side of things and the installation and the networking. What they sometimes forget is the practical application of what they're doing. So the siting of the devices and the practicality actually of using it. Security is very easy. I lock all the doors, I turn off all the IT, and I've got a very secure environment. And often I find that the technologists will come up with a great solution, but in terms of practicality, it's not user-friendly. So it's breaking down that, it's sort of introducing and breaking down that aloofness is too strong a word, but it's that non-customer orientated approach, which I find with IT people is sometimes the way.
Sure. So that's like when you say sighting, where to sight cameras, because my IT people wouldn't understand that, and which cameras have the better view of the whole area. Are we talking that kind of level? Or?
At a low level, exactly so. And it's just sometimes the ergonomics, just the place of a card reader. You don't just put it in any old place around a door. It's got to be in close proximity to the device you're controlling. You've got to take into account DDA, disability aspects to it. So again, often an IT person will say, just put a reader in there, and that's all there is to it. The physical guy who's had customer and has had to deal with people that have got to practically use the device will say, well, okay, if you place it there, it's going to cause a problem for someone in a wheelchair. It's going to cause a problem because the door will open and it will block off the device. But if you place it here, then it will work in a more practical sense.
Now, in terms of convergence, you've mentioned a lot of very interesting aspects, and Dr. King, he said, well, maybe we'd have both these people under one security function. I've always thought that was the case anyway, but they weren't physically in the same room.
What's happened is about, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago, the term Chief Security Officer was created. Very shortly thereafter, Chief Risk Officer, Chief Business Continuity Officer, et cetera, et cetera. And in a majority of cases, it was more of a badge than an actual practical application. Very few companies actually hired a Chief Security Officer who had the split brain, as it were, who understood IT and physical security. So it was a vogue way, a thing at the time. More recently, though, as physical security has got more technology orientated, a lot of our systems, a lot of our processes do depend on technology. It's been forced that physical and IT become more joined up. And that's why I think there's the latest sort of reiteration, and the term divergence has become apparent. It's kind of been forced on the physical people, and the IT people just having to support the physical operation.
Do you think that one day that role will be an integrated, split-brained, and when you go out and look for CVs for people to have this role, there will be almost exams that people take that would show that they're capable of both areas?
Well, there is the exams are kind of there now. The CISSP does have physical security elements as well as all the rest of the domains being on InfoSec. So that side of the thing is getting there. In terms of actually recruiting and looking for that person with the hybrid capability, I think, yes, it will become that way more and more.
Right. Stephen, thank you very much for your time.
No problems.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ben Chai. I'm the editor for securityvibes.com. If you've enjoyed this video or have any other comments to make, please do fill in the comment boxes and let us know what you think. Thank you.